3, 2, 1, yeah, baby!
Oh, thank goodness. Officer, please, come quickly.
Bonjour, mademoiselle. How can I...
It has become a madhouse. Madame has been shouting and cursing all morning. I've never seen her so angry. But what great luck to happen upon you.
Please, try to remain calm. First, may I ask your name?
We don't have time for that. Please, hurry.
Mademoiselle, now we are here, I must insist on your name before I can continue any further. I am Officer Hercule Poirot.
I am Elizabeth, but it is the maidservant that we must consider. Forgive me, officer, but are you new to the area?
I stand out so obviously.
I mean no offence, only I have not seen you before. This is a small town, and you learn everyone's faces very quickly.
Very observant of you, mademoiselle. Oui, I was recently posted...
There has been a theft at the house.
Then
It is only one of Mademoiselle Angeline's most valuable bracelets, taken from her room.
Then it's...
Madame Van den Bosch, the lady of the house, believes Fleurette is behind it. I'm afraid I do. I know Madame is confident of Fleurette's guilt, but she wouldn't do such a thing. Surely a burglar is responsible, as Mademoiselle believes.
Merci, mademoiselle. You're... Ah. Huh. Oh. I should not be surprised by my own skills of deduction.
Of course, officer. How can I help? One set must be mine, leaving to find you. The other set must be Florette's. She was caught in the rain this morning. There is, sir. Luke, but he was called away from the house on a personal matter. Rahana, our cook, accompanied him.
Merci, mademoiselle. Your assistance has been invaluable. Ah. Oh. Aha.
Of course, officer. How can I help? Excuse me, officer?
The carving on the bench. Forgive me, I was not suggesting anything untoward.
Oh, of course not. Yes.
Would you know the identity?
I'm afraid not. Perhaps they were old residents.
Love is not...
That is
Merci, ma... Oh. The pieces of the puzzle are finally coming together. Order and method. That is... This will not get me any close. I must act on thought. I cannot see the logic in this. Come, my little grey cells. We must think. Magnifique. I must take a different approach if I... Is there something... This will not get me any... I must take a different approach. Another success. Things are beginning to become... Some would say a lucky guess. I would say a moment of genius. I have conducted my initial inspection of the house and grounds. It is now necessary for me to speak with those in the house.
Of course. Thank you, officer. I'm sure Madame Van den Bosch will be happy to hear the police are investigating.
You are not the commanding officer I requested.
No, dear madame, I am Officer Hercule Poirot. I can assure you that...
This will simply not do. I sent Elizabeth to bring me a competent lawman.
And that...
You understand correct?
And valuable to your daughter, no doubt.
Yes. I do not believe so,
And why is that?
because I don't. Don't be ridiculous. I have told you who is guilty. If there had been a break-in, surely it would be your job to stop them.
If it was the case, of course, madame. Although...
Perhaps then you have proved me right.
Merci, madame. You have been... Aha. Huh. Huh. Aha. Huh. Ah. Order and method. must act on thought and fact.
Really, Ovid. Only if you...
It is an offense to incarcerate someone without...
If you... And what is your...
May I ask of the...
You meant...
Merci, madame.
What do you think you're doing in here? Who let you in?
Mademoiselle Angeline, I presume. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Officer Hercule Poirot.
An officer of the law? But what are you doing here? Don't you need to be chasing down the burglar?
Your bracelet has gone missing. It is only correct. I speak with all members of the house and investigate the scene of the crime.
Ah, if we must.
Merci.
Some rat stole my bracelet this morning. Even though it's clear someone has broken in, Maman refused to listen and blamed Florette.
You sound very convinced it was...
My wit... It is of great value. Money was no object to father.
It was a gift from your father. I can only...
Of course. It must have been while I was down at breakfast with Elizabeth. She was with me all morning.
Mademoiselle Elizabeth was with you until you discovered the bracelet was missing?
She was.
You have been of great help to my investigation, mademoiselle. I will do everything I can to find the culprit. Huh. Hmm. Aha.
The longer you're here, the further the criminal goes with my bracelet. But by all means, fire away. Is one... Ah, why don't you...
Azahel. You have been of great help. Oh. Hmm. Oh. Oh. Hmm. Ah. What a revelation! I cannot see the logic in this. Is there something I am not seeing? I must act on thought and fact, not on... The pieces of the puzzle are... Magnifique. Order and method. The... I must take a different approach if I... This will not get me any closer to my goal. Another success.
Really, officer.
Merci.
The longer you're here, the further the criminal goes with my... How should I know? I returned to the room and father was face down on the floor. It must have been the burglar.
So it is your father that is the subject.
Isn't he handsome? I remember watching him sit for it. He kept looking... Maman never wants to talk about him.
I'm sure that is not the case.
I miss him every day. In the summer, father and I would stand in the gazebo, cover my eyes and count. And when I turned, he was nowhere to be seen. Maman would lower her book and when I was hiding, it didn't matter where I was. He could never find me. He always knew.
I am sure he would... You have been of great help to my investigation, mademoiselle.
Really, officer.
Merci. Mademoiselle Elizabeth, I hope you are feeling less distressed now. I can assure you I shall find the guilty party.
Thank you, officer.
Bien sûr. Rest assured she will get the fair trial she deserves.
Of course. When I left, Madame was with Florette.
Madame van den Bosch should not be deciding her fate.
I would, sir, but I don't have the key. There is a spare somewhere, though. Oh, how awful the thought.
Do you have any thought?
I'm sorry. Madame does not trust the staff with such knowledge, even me. Although I did overhear her once say it was hidden somewhere, close to her heart. Now I think of it, I don't... She holds...
Merci. Come, my little Grace-Anne. Things are beginning to become...
Certainly, officer. Madame is the one with the refined taste. Angeline and I are much more partial to a simple love story.
Aren't we all? Romeo and Juliet. Merci, mademoiselle. Your assistance has been in... Finally, it is
What exactly do you think you are?
If I am to serve justice...
The girl is guilty and shall pay the price for her crime. I shall see to that. If you wish to listen to her feeble attempts to explain herself, so be it.
Everyone deserves to tell their side of the story, whether a feeble... Mademoiselle Florette, I presume.
Please, officer. I did nothing wrong. You can't take me away.
Please relax, my dear. If you have done nothing wrong, you have nothing to worry about. But it is my duty to investigate all avenues. Ah bon?
Relax. So
As a...
I didn't even know it was missing till
There must be some reasoning behind her accusation.
How? Rihanna the cook is away, so I had to fetch breakfast for the house and prepare it all myself. How does she expect me to do that all on my own?
From what I understand of Madame van den Bosch...
Not best pleased? I thought she was going to batter me to death with a baguette. I hid in the kitchen and then tried to...
Perhaps a brave move under the circumstances.
Madame... I... had...
Merci. I shall... Oh. Ah. Huh. 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 Is there something? I cannot see the logic in this. Is there something I should not be surprised by... Some would say a lucky guess. What a revelation! The pieces of the puzzle are final. Things are beginning to become... Order and method. That... Magnifique. I should not be surprised, but...
Really, officer, you are If you have something to ask, officer, I suggest you stop wasting my time further and just get on with it. And this is how she repays me? I will not be happy until I see her sufficiently punished. I am glad you have finally come to your senses and have... It is challenging at times, I will admit. But I can assure you the Van den Bosch name is as... I have tried my best to provide for Angeline, although sometimes she may not see it that...
You are accepting the hand you have been dealt and raising a fine young mademoiselle. That is all that can be asked of you.
And you have done nothing but bother my staff and my...
Certainly, officer. Why, yes, officer.
You are not the first to say.
You're back. The lounge?
Oui.
Oh. Besides the terrible rain? No. I woke, began my duties with Mademoiselle. I had already laid out a clean dress.
And the bracelet was still there.
I'm sure. Madame is under a great deal of stress.
And this morning?
It's not the... Madame's scolding of Fleurette this morning was the worst I have seen her temper.
Could there have been another...
Madame was...
Merci. What a revelation! Some would say a lucky... Another success. I must act on... This will not get me any closer to my... I cannot see the logic in this. What a revelation! I should not be surprised. Another success.
Anything to show you. Yes. And
At whose request?
it was.
Merci.
Anything to.
Merci.
The longer you're. Maman is never happy with anything these days. Also, Florette does have a habit of not doing things exactly how.
And how does she react when she...
Maman has a temperament.
That is how...
She.
You have been of great help to my investigation. Come, my little grey cells. I must take a different approach. Magnifique. Come, my little grey cells. We must... This will not get me any closer to my goal. I must act on thought and fact. Some would say a lucky... Things are beginning to become clearer.
Anything to show you. She never used to be such a witch. I would have gone long ago, monsieur.
I was not aware you were...
Papa lost his job at the factory just before he left for good. So Mama had to work even more. I was older. When I joined the Vanden Bosch house, the Viscount was very kind. He gave me some extra in my first pay pack. Enough to keep the landlord from kicking Mama. He even let me to go home and visit Mama and my brothers at Christmas, with a food parcel from the kitchen. It's always been hard for her. When I walked in Mama's house, everything seemed so much smaller.
The valuables in the...
Someone should tell Madame that. Not...
I will uncover the truth of what happened. Merci.
Certainly, officer. How could I not be?
especially being able to draw similarity.
But...
Mademoiselle, I am...
Please, you cannot say anything to Madame. She is against staff relationships of any kind.
But he means so...
Oh, officer. At first, it was nothing more than pleasantries around the grounds.
Love...
The mere thought of him was enough to make me blush. The summer evenings here are just so beautiful. He looked ever so handsome. And the poem he had... Standing there beneath the warm glow of the... Oh, I'm sorry, officer.
One should never apologize for...
You have found the
Everything will be...
Of course.
Merci, Mademoiselle Elizabeth, for gathering everyone.
She stormed past me not long ago.
Very well. Under usual circumstances, I would wait. But I think we have spent enough time on this matter, n'est-ce pas? We shall... This morning started like any other. My usual ordinary patrol. Until I was approached by Mademoiselle Elizabeth about a suspected burglary and a missing bracelet.
A crime I've been falsely blamed for.
That I shall come to. I began my investigation outside, but it was not long before I realized there were no signs of an intruder. So Florette, your time here at the house has not all...
I do what Madame...
And to the...
Madame standard...
And you would at least expect fair treatment for...
Monsieur?
I refer to how poorly Madame Van den Bosch treats you.
That is Maman you're talking about.
It is nothing but the truth. All the while, Mademoiselle stands by and does not even notice such cruelty. That must have... Perhaps you thought it was time they deserved some retribution.
Stop trying to put words...
I am merely giving her a voice.
Maybe I do think she deserves it. She's had the world handed...
A motive, begin.
You're just trying to get me to admit to something. Well, I've done nothing. I was only trying...
You must have known how Madame would have reacted to your late return, especially with her prior treatment of you.
She's angry at...
But nonetheless, you were willing to help, and that show of loyalty to your friend has been the thing that proved your innocence.
Monsieur?
Because of such willingness to help, you were delayed. You had no viable way of taking the bracelet from Mademoiselle...
I told you!
It is evidence not even she can ignore. Which then, Mademoiselle Elizabeth, you have been with...
That is correct.
You have grown close with both ladies of the house.
Of course.
You yourself told me Madame Van den Bosch would not stand for it.
Elizabeth?
A love that is reminiscent of Romeo.
If you don't stop, I will tell Maman. You can't speak to her like that.
It may be a tone you do not like, but it is no worse than your maman's ruling that forced them into secrecy to begin with.
I'm sorry. This isn't how I wanted you to find out.
What are you talking?
Luke and I...
Luke?
For fear of Madame and her rule, and if neither of you had employment, there would be no way to pay for a wedding, perhaps.
It was never our plan to go behind yours or Madame's back. You must believe me.
You two are to wed?
Yes. Well, no. Not today, as Officer Poirot suspects.
It is not always what one thinks, or how something may appear. Rather, where the evidence points. And that is to Mademoiselle...
You come... I have not... How dare you? You can't actually...
If you didn't, explain to me how your moment...
You have no proof.
Besides you being the only one in the room alone. Even after finding the bracelet, I still did not know why you had done it. Until I contemplated why Madame was selling so many heirlooms and art.
You had no right to...
When it is part of my investigation, I have...
Maman can do what she...
But when there was no more art to sell, what then? You could not risk her taking your father's bracelet and selling it. So, you staged a burglary...
She didn't think about me at all. She was going to take my bracelet and sell it off. It would have just ended up on some old wrinkly wrist. I didn't think Maman would blame her. I didn't think she would do anything.
But she did. And somehow that evidently didn't cross your mind.
Maman can't know what happened.
But Mademoiselle Florette will be proved in a... No crime has been committed. It is time you consider... And now...
Maman, you're home.
Of course I am. And I've brought someone that will bring some order to this chaos.
Major, I can
From what I have heard,
The missing bracelet has been found.
I am well aware that the maids...
I am sure Madame Van den Bosch has informed... After...
I should.
I'm sorry, Maman, he's right.
Shh, girl. I will not have you.
Officer Poirot, Madame Van den Bosch was forced to make her way to inform me, alone, I might add, of the goings-on at the house today.
Major, with all...
This may be how some officers act in the city. Insubordination.
As the ranking officer, I have conducted my
Ranking officer? Ha! You, out of what I have heard of your past in the city, I'm sure he would look upon today's events as another failure at the hands of Officer Poirot.
Oui.
Now I suggest you do your duty and escort...
Right up. I'm sorry, mademoiselle.
Maman was right.
We will do everything we can.
What can you do now?
A crime that was never committed.
Angeline did not intend for you to be arrested.
I should have known better than to expect anything else.
What you saw today was not justice. In the eyes of...
But that doesn't help.
That I cannot save.
Detective Poirot, I trust this finds you well. It has been many years since our paths last crossed, and while I'm sure your recollection of the events may differ from mine, I hope that receiving this letter has not rekindled a sense of animosity toward myself or the Van den Bosch name. The impression you made is something that has stayed with me since that day. It compelled me to reconsider the spoilt young lady I would have inevitably become and helped shape me into the woman I wished to be. You made me see the childish and selfish girl in me that did not consider the consequences of her actions or how they may affect others. Although Maman may see the events of that day differently, I believe the compassion you showed for our mate Florette, as well as the drive to uncover the truth and accept no alternative, was a testament to your character and professionalism. Although I wish it were under different circumstances, your assistance is once again required, and I hope you will consider this as my formal request for your service. This forthcoming weekend was due to be one full of joy and happiness at the announcement of my engagement to Gideon Demire, whom I love dearly, bringing together two illustrious families, but it has been shadowed by deceit, extortion, and blackmail. The Van den Bosch name is being held to ransom by a mysterious party, and I am afraid I do not know who I can and cannot trust. We are holding a small gathering to celebrate our exciting news with what Maman calls the dignified elite, those that are well respected and held in high regard in both our close inner circle and society. Our private